Yeah. So yeah, good morning, students. So today we are going to see about online search agents. So I think in our previous session we already had a discussion on what are online search agents, and maybe at the end of the session we discussed something rough about them. Also, in our previous sessions we are discussing about something which is called as beyond classical search, wherein we are just trying to understand that. How exactly the search functionals into some scenarios which are basically non-deterministic, or the scenarios wherein observations are not clear, or we can call it that partially observable environment, or scenarios where there are no observations, something like that. Okay. So we are just trying to relate the searches or the search mechanism into different scenarios where how the role of percepts is going to play, or probably those scenarios where there is not a stereotype path between the initial state and the goal state. Okay, so that's what we are trying to discuss. And we have discussed various scenarios wherein search was happening in no observation, then observation, then partially observation, likewise. Okay. And today one more category of what we call it as beyond classical search that we are going to see is what we call it as online search agents. Now when you talk about online search agents, okay, just don't be confused with the word online. It doesn't mean that it has to be it has something which related to internet. Okay, but yeah, it's something. So when you talk about online, it's just trying to tell you that definitely the percepts are not going to be clear. There are many things which are not going to be clear, and your actions are basically going to determine what is going to happen next. Okay. So see, whenever we talk about online, where there is one thing which we know, that online, whenever it's an online behavior, uh, it actually works on a concept in which we call it as request and response. So basically we give some request and a response that we get, and that's how basically it goes ahead. So that's what we're trying to talk over here also, that whenever we talk about online search agents, we are trying to more focus on these kind of thing, wherein some request will be there, and we are going to respond, and that's how it is going to go ahead. So basically your actions are going to play a very important role over here. And further we will see how various situations are there which we basically try to face, or the search mechanism faces into an online search environment, right? Okay, fine, let's go ahead. So basically, if we talk about online search agent, we have to see what is an online search agent. Also, we have to see what are online search problems, and we're going to see an example that how an online search agent can basically work with a DFS environment or a DFS search mechanism. Okay, so we are going to talk about, or we are going to basically see an algorithm with respect to online DFS agent. Fine, okay. So let's start. So now when you talk about online search, okay, so it is going to interleave the computation and action. Now, what does it mean by interleaving computation and action? So first it take actions, and then it observes the environment and computes the next action. So it has to take an action first, and then it has to see that whatever action it has taken, what impact it has given to the environment. Once it has understood that impact, it is going to take care about the next action. So basically, uh, rather than something which we call it as deciding that I am at this state, and then I have to go to this state, and then I have to go to this state. No, it will not be like that. An action will be taken, and action will definitely make that agent into a particular state, and that agent is going to observe the environment, and then just check that what impact the action has given to the environment, and then accordingly it will decide the next action. Online search is a good idea in dynamic and semi-dynamic domains. Okay. So we already know that what do we mean by dynamic and semi-dynamic domains, or we call it as dynamic and semi-dynamic environments. So there were two kind of concepts wherein which we have seen that there was something which is known as static environments and something which is known as dynamic environments. If we call about static environments, then the percepts and everything were to be very clear, but if we call it as about dynamic environments, the perception everything will not be very much clear, and every time your actions are going to decide a whole lot of different sort of percepts and different scenarios which can basically happen. So the state spaces and everything are going to be dynamic. They will not be very much fixed. But if we talk about a static domain or a static environment, the state spaces and everything are going to be quite fixed. Okay. Also, we are going to use online search where there are domains where there is a penalty for sitting around and computing too long. Okay, which means you cannot just wait on at an initial state, or you cannot wait on a one state and take a lot of time to decide what new state you have to go to or what action you have to take. So basically if it takes too much of time, then what will happen is maybe the performance measure of that agent will not be justified. So if there are certain domains where you cannot wait for some time, where the search mechanism cannot wait for certain amount of long time to compute where it actually has to go. So in those kind of domains, so there is a penalty for sitting, which means let's say if there are 5 agents working, and if that one agent is taking a lot amount of time, then probably that agent will has to back out from the environment or something like that. So there is a penalty for sitting around and computing too long. You cannot basically do that if you are working with online search agents. So we are going to use online search agent for those kind of domains where we want that the computing should be as quick as possible. Okay, so that's what it's trying to tell us. Fine. Yeah. Going ahead, so online search is also helpful in non-deterministic domains because it allows the agent to focus its computational efforts on the contingencies. Okay, so we talked about what is a contingency plan. What was contingency plan is that there is not a straightforward solution from a goal state, from an initial state to a goal state. Instead, there are strategies. So because it is a non-deterministic domain, and if it is a non-deterministic domain, the percepts are going to play very important role over there. So as and when a percept is being catched by a sensor or whatsoever mechanism it is being used in, and there will be a strategy which will be working. That strategy will basically help to understand that which part of the state space has to be searched, so that it can quickly take an action and decide the next state. So whenever we talk about online search, rather than talking about the initial states and goal states, we talk more about contingency plans over there. Online search is a necessary idea. So yeah, that's where how online search is going to behave if we talk about non-deterministic domains. Online search is necessary idea for unknown environments where agent does not know what state exists or what actions to do. In this state of ignorance, the agent faces an exploration problem and must use its actions as experiments in order to learn enough to make the deliberation worthwhile. So, very important point, whenever the environments are unknown, whenever the agent does not know what it has to do. So, in this case, we will say that the agent is quite ignore enough of what state to do, what state to jump on or what action to take. So, it will face an exploration problem. Now what is an exploration problem? It will just explore, it will just think, okay, let me do this, then let me do this, then let me do this. And what if after these exploration the agent keeps on learning and always tries to and afterwards, okay, so it will of course today it will work with an exploration uh, path, and it will just see that, okay, I'm taking this steps, and then it will see the end result, what has happened. Okay, so it has taken certain amount of steps and probably it has not reached where it want to reach, or maybe it has reached to where it want to reach, but it will take long amount of time. So every time if the environment is unknown, okay, there will be always parallel learning mechanism also, which this online search agent has to continuously learn on. So whatever it will explore, it will keep on learning also with respect to it. Yeah. So these are certain scenarios where online search agents are going to be used. Now, what are online search problems? So like any problem solving agent or like any problems, any search problems, even the online search problems exactly work in the same way, where they will be having some kind of actions which they can do. Okay. So rather than now talking about initial state, because initial state will also be there, and it can be any one of the state. But what we see over here, that something like state space is not defined, because a state space can be quite exhaustive, and state space is something which can keep on developing also. So that can be possible if we talk about online search agent. So an online search problem must be solved by an agent executing actions rather than by pure computation. So that's what we are trying to tell, is that before, when we talked about a search problem, the computation part was more. Why? Because we talked about an initial state. We talked about there will be a state space, and that initial state will be there somewhere into the state space, and computations has to happen. It has to decide now what next step, what next step, what next step, and somewhere it has to reach towards the goal state. Okay. So that was pure computation, but over here it will not be like that. Your every action is also going to be equally important in deciding how to go forward. Okay. So that's where when we talk about online search problem, your actions are actually going to play a major important role, rather than what we call it as a state space. So let's say if there is a deterministic and fully observable environment, what will be your actions? So all actions which are allowed in this particular state. Okay. So if you talk about a state of, let's say solving a maze, and let's say if it has the four different paths to go, so wherever it basically it finds a route, it can go. So all list of actions, which means going left, right, up and down. Okay. So all options are available. Or maybe let's say if you're a maze, or let's say an agent solving a maze is stuck up at a place where left and right options are only available, so both left and right options. So basically every actions which are allowed in this state. So if whatever example you take, and in that example, in whatever particular state the agent is, whatever actions are there which can be allowed in that state, all those actions can be taken. And definitely there has to be a goal test. Okay. So now goal test, if it is going to be a kind of a utility agent, there can be multiple goal tests. And yeah, if there is an agent which actually has a proper goal, then definitely we are talking about that goal test. So every time, whenever, at whatever state we are going to match it with the goal test, and we'll see whether we have reached at the end of the problem or not. The cost is the total path cost of the path that the agent actually travels. So here we are not talking about what is an initial state and a goal state, but basically whatsoever happens. Because now why we are talking like this, because whenever you are talking, we are going to talk about online search problems, there is definitely going to be backtracking, or maybe a lot of backtracking. Just take a scenario where we are trying to talk about an agent solving the searching the maze problem. Then, and if it finds going ahead, it takes a particular direction, it goes ahead, and if it finds out there's a dead end over there. So now this is going to be one more important thing when you talk about online search problems, that definitely there are going to be a lot of dead ends which the online search agents are going to face, wherein there will be nothing ahead then. Okay. So even if you talk about a user perspective using an online search agent, or an online search agent working on its individual aspect also, in both the case there are situations where there are going to be dead ends. So dead ends, which means there are actually no states after this. And if there are actually no states after this, then of course we haven't yet got the goal state. And even to explore which are the possible states, because somewhere where you have reached, you are not getting anything after that. So maybe you have to do a lot of backtracking and then go toward different path. Okay. So that's why when we talk about the cost, we talk about all the path that the agent has actually traveled. It is common to compare these costs with the path cost of the path that the agent would follow if it knew the search space in advance, that is the actual shortest path. So now, in scenarios when the search space and everything are already known, then definitely we do have search algorithms which can actually help us to know the shortest path. So what will happen is that whatever the path the agent is going to traverse can be compared with these shortest path. And yeah, definitely it would be best if we knew the search space, and if we assume that knowing the search space, the path cost should be, let's say, 5. And what if even in the actual scenario the path cost becomes 5 or even less than that? Okay, so that there will be a possibility always. In the language of online algorithms, this is called competitive ratio. It should be as small as possible. So what happens is that a possibility of the path cost is being defined, is being discussed by experimenting that online search scenario n number of times, and some value of the path cost is figure it out for a particular problem. Okay, or maybe that there will be some time frame, and every time when your online search agent is working, it will be compared with this, and that's why it will be called it as competitive ratio. That how knowing the search space, what would happen, and without knowing the search space, what exactly is happening. Okay, so there should be scenarios where these ratios should be as less as possible, which means it should even in a scenario where search spaces are not known, it should try to reach towards its goal state as early as possible. At times, the competitive ratio goes infinite, wherein certain actions are not reversible. So let's say what happens if you reach a state wherein nothing is ahead, and basically you are stuck up. So online search agent might accidentally reach dead end state from which no goal state is reachable. So in that case, we will say that the competitive ratio goes infinite, because you might have traversed totally to a wrong path, and that's why the concept of having the shortest path actually terminates over there, and thereby we say that the competitive ratio goes infinite. So because we are not sure of that how much wrong we have moved forward. Okay, so that's where the online search problems is there. Okay, and what we understood, that actions are going to be important. Of course, goal test will be there, and path cost will be there, but it will matter on a number of different scenarios. So rather than path cost, competitive ratios are going to be very much important when we talk about online search problems. Now, where there are chances that where the online search agents can have dead ends. So dead ends are common for robots working in scenarios like staircases, ramps, one-way streets, where there is no possibility of irreversible actions. So all applications which you can think of, wherein these kind of search agents are not having options to do backtracking, or let's say to have a situation wherein they can reverse their action what they have already taken, might be because they understood that they are going to a wrong path. Dead ends are going to be very common. They'll get stuck up, and after that there is nothing forward which they can do. To make the progress, we simply assume that the state space is safely explorable, that is, some goal is reachable from every reachable state. Okay, so now when we talk about that there will be irreversible action, so in that cases we should actually make our progress in such scenarios. Okay, so that kind of scenario is known as safely explorable, which means there has to be some goal. Okay, and every it will be something like, it can act as a sub goal. It will not be the exact goal to solve the problem, but a sub goal should be there, and from every state it should be possible that we should be able to reach this sub goal. So we have to define these kind of movements, or these kind of searching mechanisms, where the actions are not going to be reversible. State spaces with reversible actions such as mazes are safely explorable. Okay, so at times where these even safely explorable can work very well, where there are possibilities, where backtracking is available, where you can reverse your actions. So definitely it will also become much more difficult to experiment or to put this safely explorable state space into scenarios where actions are not reversible. So we have to see how we can turn on these agents working in such a way that they do not stuck up at some dead ends, and they can continue with their working. So definitely then it will go from domain to domain, that which domains are allowing what, and whether you configure something into that domain such that basically it starts allowing you backtracking in some of the ways. Okay, so that is very much that has to be very much important when you talk about online search problems. online search agent. Okay, so how what is actually going to be the work of an online search agent? After each action, an online search agent receives a percept telling it what state it has reached. From its information, it can augment its map of environment. Very, very, very important, students. Okay, so what will happen is that after, it will give an action. Okay, and it, of course, it will give an action to the environment. As soon as it gives an action to the environment is again going to throw a percept to it, and as soon as it's reached its percept, it is going to augment its environment, which means it will see a larger visibility of an environment, that what actually has happened into the environment when I have given this action. And it will actually now map two things. It has given a certain action and it has got some percept. So two things it will map, and it will see what has happened into its environment, how its environment has changed. Okay, and that will actually help the online agent to move forward. Online search agent expand the nodes in a local order, which means it expands the successor of nodes which it is physically present at. Okay, so the expansion is going to be in a successor wise, and it is going to be in a local order, which means it will try rather than so if, let's say, if from an initial state you decide any one state that you have to go, then the expansion will keep on happening in its local order. Okay, so when now we understand these kind of expansion, basically it belongs to depth first search, because depth first search also prefers to keep on expanding into local order. And then what another thing we see is that if this expansion, let's say, happens randomly and into a particular direction, then it somewhere resembles to hill climbing also. So let us see what exactly happens. See, online search agent can very well work with depth first search, which supports backtracking. Okay, so and definitely in depth first search, we know that if there are chances, so depth first search very well resembles where there are chances where we end up at something which is not we want, and thereby what we do is we keep on backtracking. So the same thing can happen. Um, an online search agent also. So online search agent also wants that let me explore one path completely till the end and then decide what has happened to me. So if something which has happened to me which is not correct, okay, then it will keep on backtracking. Also, hill climbing work in the same way, which has a property of expansion similar to online search agent requirement. But as hill climbing doesn't support backtracking and can get stuck at local maxima, it becomes difficult to use in hill climbing in many online search environments. So if we are talking about an online search environment which has to support a lot of backtracking, then probably hill climbing is something which we cannot use over there. Okay, so DFS is something which is very much supportive and very much preferred when we talk about making use of an online search agent. Okay, so now here comes an algorithm on how an online DFS agent works. Okay, so let's understand. One thing which has to be very clear is that it is going to work on the action which has taken, and what that action has given you from the environment, and also how it is going to support the backtracking. So what we see is that function online DFS agent, okay, and some information about a state as being passed, okay, returns an action, inputs as dash a percept that identifies the current state. Okay, so rather than passing an initial state, we have actually given a percept, and we know that DFS is something which is going to work on recursively. Every time whatever new state is going to come, it is going to now act as a percept. A new state it is going to come, it will now act as a percept. So that's how it is going to work. Now persistent, which means we can call it that some variables or some major inputs that we are trying to take into this algorithm. So we are going to make use of a table, a table indexed by state and action, initially empty. So that will be our result. So there will be a table in which there will be a state and an action will be there. Initially it will be empty, because as soon as we'll try it, we are going to keep it over there untried, a table list for each state that the action is not yet tried, unbacktracked for each state that the backtracks have not yet happened, and SA, that is the previous state, and the action which is initially null. So as of now, you can think of that some empty sets we have taken into persistence. So, and these empty sets we are going to fill up as soon as we start running our algorithm. So we are taking help of result, we are taking help of untried, the actions which we have not tried, unbacktracked, okay, the states which we have not backtracked yet, so that you know, we can come to know that whether we should backtrack them, whether we have already used them or not. And then we are talking about two more important things: previous state and an action. Okay, so now definitely we are going to receive a percept that will actually signify a particular state, and then we will check whether it is our goal state. Of course, if it is our goal state, we are going to stop, which will not happen at the very first moment. So then we check if hash dash is a new state, which means whether it is a state which is not yet tried. Okay. So if hash dash is a new state, and how we can know that? Not in untried. So untried is going to have a list, and if hash dash is not a part of that list, then untried hash dash, then we are going to put hash dash into that, which means our current state into that, and then we are going to figure it out what actions actually we can take. Okay, so then we are going to take an action. Okay, now if s is not null, if s is not null, which means if we have a previous state. Okay, so of course, for the very first time when your algorithm is going to run, there will not be any previous state. Okay, so if s is not null, will actually not work. So if s is not null, when will work? When you have one previous state which is already existing with you. What will be s dash then? What is going to be your s dash? Your s dash is going to be result of s comma a, which means your previous percept or your previous state and what action you have taken. So which means your s dash is actually going to signify a new state that is going to be there. Add s to the front of unbacktracked s dash. Okay, which means now actually you have got information about two states: s, that was your previous state, and s dash, that is your new state. If untried of s dash is empty, which means s dash is, let's say, something which we have not tried. And also if unbacktracked of s dash is empty, okay, then return stop. Else we have to take an action in such a way that the result should be, we have to take a new action in such a way: result s dash comma b minus pop unbacktracked of s dash. So now what we are actually trying to tell over here is that, first of all, we are going to decide, we should know what is our previous state, and we should know what action we have to take. This will give us a new state, that is s dash. Okay, then we will see whether this s dash is something which we have not tried yet and which we have not backtracked yet. So if we have not tried and if we have not backtracked, then it is perfectly fine. Okay, we can take this step. Okay, but let's say if it is something which we which is, let's say, we have already tried, which is something which is not tried, but it is backtracked. Okay, so in that case what we have to do is, we have to take an action maybe back than that and give it as our real action. Okay, so in that case what we are trying to say is that we have already used this action, and this state is actually not helping us. So that's why we have to backtrack it again. And how we are going to backtrack? Okay, so we will, how the backtracking will happen? So there will be one state which is actually going to be much more larger, and then it is going to be subtracted from a backtrack state. So basically what will happen, it's something like, let's say, you are at 5 and you are backtracking -1. So basically now you will be at 4. Okay, and that's how backtracking will happen. So if you have not backtracked it, okay, then it is absolutely fine. But then if there is a possibility that you have to backtrack it, then you have to, just go one by one step back. Okay, if probably it is that state is not helpful to you. Else whatever action is there which is available at that state, you are going to take that action, and then you are going to set it as your current state. Okay, so now s dash is going to be your current state, but before that s dash will be tried for these number of times. Okay, and then it will be actually taken it as your current state, and whatever action was required to go to s dash will be returned by this agent. And this whole process is going to work in a recursive manner, which means it is not just going to happen once, it is going to happen it again and again and again. And whatever new s dashes are going to come, it is going to be a part of your search mechanism, and every time it is going to return an action. So basically it is just trying to see that whether this is as dash is something which we should go ahead or which we should not go ahead. And for that it tries two lists, okay, a list which is maintaining untried and a list which is maintaining unbacktracked. And seeing these two lists, it will decide whether it has to take this action or it has to take an action which is a backtracking version of this. Okay, yeah, so students, that will happen into what we call it as an online DFS agent. Fine, okay. So yeah, what we saw today was about how online search agents work, okay, what are online search problems, and how an online DFS agent is going to work. Okay, yeah. So thank you all of you.